Right, so it's been 2 hours and I don't know if you can see, that's gone flat now, so I don't need to put anything on there now because we don't want it to mark it. So take them off. Right, so we just double check them, make sure that they're down as much as they can go. There's my alarm for 2 hours. And now we just leave it and hope that it's well, we'll leave it for a couple of days now, so the next time you see me it'll be a couple of days later. Well, we appear to be back. A few hours has passed because I've been having trouble with my batteries. Okay, so we've trimmed it all up, trimmed the edges off, and I've actually trimmed across these top little pieces there as well, because when you first do them, these pieces here are sticking up like this, so you have to trim it down. But that looks great. It's got a little blemish on it there where something dropped on it, but doesn't matter because we're going to be dyeing it anyway. But look at that, doesn't that look brilliant? It's a nice tough pouch that. If you wanted it to be a lot less tough, you just manipulate the leather till it goes softer, but most people just leave it nice and tough like that. Okay, so to get on to the next bit. Okay, so what we're going to do now is cut out a piece of leather for the back. Now it's going to be something like that, and we'll put on there and bend that over. As a matter of fact, that might do it, so we can put the roll away. Now this is the original piece that I was trying to use for that, so that's worked out pretty well, because that's a nice piece of leather, that. So I'll do that, put that on there. Right, so hold it where we want it, and then pull that piece and see if it will come over in a nice flap, which it has. So that will be great for there. Okay, so what we're going to do now, yeah, zoom in a bit. Okay, are we yeah, should be alright. Right, so we're just going to level that up. Then we're going to take this and we draw a line up there. And down the bottom there, just doing a straight line down, squaring it all off first. It's a matter about the bottom and the top. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to get some more of that board, this foam board, and we're just going to, once we've cut this out, we're just going to make a template of that as well. Put that to one side. Get the sharp knife, put the ruler, join those lines up now where the pouch was in between. This is top, this is bottom. Take the knife, again do what we always do with it and strop it. Doesn't take a lot once you've done it the first time. Doesn't take a lot. We take that, keeping the blade low. Oh, that's cutting lovely, that. Nice piece for a strap there. Again, just remember to go nice and slow when you're cutting along your lines. There's no rush. It's not a race. Okay, so there's the piece that we're going to use that will go on the back like that. So before we go any further, we need to transfer that onto that. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that bottom bit there, let me just cut this off here. That's better. Okay, now where the bottom is, it's a bit wavy, so I don't want it wavy on the template, so we'll just we'll straighten that off on the template. There we go. So this is the bottom. This is the top, and this is the template. Back piece of 6-inch Possibles pouch. Okay. This foam board cuts nice, makes nice templates actually. Very lightweight, very sturdy. And one along there. And there we go. We now have the big one is for the moulding it over the actual mould itself. Done, wet, mould it. So next time I want to make one, I just cut a piece of leather out of that and I'm away. Cut a piece of leather out of that and I've got the back piece. So that will fit on there every time. And then we just fold it over. Okay. Should have done them years ago. Don't know why I didn't. I thought I had done, but you know, get carried away. So the only problem we've got now is that we need to wait for this to fully dry. I can still feel it. If you're not sure if it's wet, just by your hands, touch it to your bottom lip, and if it feels cold, it's still wet. You can tell with your hands anyway. So we'll leave it for a few days to dry off completely, and then we'll come back and we'll get on with that. See you in a few days. Right, so as we were saying, that's all made. We've cut out the piece that we're going to use for the back and the flap, so that'll go on there. That'll come over there like that, and we'll put a bit of a swing clasp on there. Right, so we'll keep that to one side. I've already drawn, I've sat that on properly, just slightly in away from the edge, and I've drawn around it. Can you see the line? Yeah, I've drawn around it. Okay, so we just put that to one side, because what we're going to need, put that to one side. What we're going to need is, we're going to need something on the back to put the belt through. So what I've done is I measured my own belt, which is quite a thick one. I've cut out a piece of leather. Let me turn that light off. There we go. Cut out a piece of leather. Now that's the thickness of my belt, but I need some overhang, because then I'm going to cut another piece of leather that is the thickness of my belt. Put that down. Put that over it. Now I have soaked this. Put that over it. Take something like this piece of plastic and start rubbing along like that, and all it does is it moulds it lifted up a little bit to allow a belt to get through. And then the bit that I'm actually stroking along here is where I'm going to put my stitches to stitch it on the back piece. So we just do this and do the other side as well. Now what I tend to do is I get some very heavy weights and put that along it. Now you can see the length of it. I'm only going to need about half of it, in all honesty, but if I make a long one I can cut it in half and I can use it the other half on another one. So I may as well do that now, thinking ahead, you see. Now where's my other, there it is, another piece of leather. Just get a piece that is no good anymore, put that on there. I've got a bigger weight somewhere. Where should you put them on? Okay, put that on there, put that on there, bit of extra weight on that, doesn't hurt to put as much weight on as you can. And I've got quite a few weights, so what we're doing right. Do, 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 do. Maybe that should go on there, yeah. Put that under there. And then we wait for that to dry, and then we'll go ahead and stitch that on onto the back. The next thing we have to do is polish it a bit. When you first put the dye on, that's come out quite nice. I quite like that. It's all sort of the same colour in it, and you can see a lot of the pattern on the leather through it as well. I don't know if you can see it in the light there, but it is nice. Right, so what we have to do now is we need to get a piece of canvas, just a piece of canvas bag. You can use other things, other cloths. I like to use canvas, and we give it a nice good rub. You have to do it too hard. I mean, put a little bit of pressure on, but you don't have to do it really hard. You're not trying to shine it up at this point. We're just trying to get the powder. When it dries, it leaves like a layer of powder on the top, so we're just trying to get that off. I like to leave the inside natural if possible. That's not done too bad, has it? Right. And the only reason we're doing this right now is just so you don't get powder all over your hands, really, and that you don't forget to do it. Okay. Oh, one last bit. This is the belt bit at the back that we wet moulded, so it's raised up a bit, just so that when it's stuck on the back of the leather, it actually allows room for a belt to slide through without any hassle. Okay, so then we need to take the back bit. I will need to see where we're going to put that on the back bit. So what I'm going to do, just so that I know, because some of this is going to get cut down and sanded down, so to make sure I put that on the other side, roughly in the middle. I want it roughly in the middle and slightly to the top, because you don't want your bag sitting too high on your waist. So you want that in the middle and slightly to the top, but not in the top that it gets in the way of anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roughly place it so that I kind of know where I'm going, and I'm just going to make a mark. Where's it gone? Get one of my paint pen fill things, do it by eye. Middle, and put a little mark right on the very edge, right on the very edge, so you won't even notice it later, and it'll probably get rubbed off anyway. And bring it up, mark it there, turn it over. Now I can see where the mark is, but I also need to be careful I don't put it too high. So when I drew around that, I only drew to the top. So where those lines end, I want to put another mark. And another mark. Again, the edges are going to get rubbed down later, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to turn it over. Right, so that mark there meets that mark there. What am I doing? That mark there on the edge meets that mark there. Look on the sides, I can see where the top bits are, so I'm going to put my ruler there. Oops, where is it? There, put my ruler there. Now I've got my line. So as long as I put that roughly where that is, and I can now see roughly what gap I'm going to have before it starts folding over at the back. I think that's okay. About there. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to, when I put it on, it sits flat, so I'm just going to squeeze it in a bit with my fingers to raise that middle bit up where the belt goes through. Yeah, and I'm going to just mark there, there, there and there, so I know where it's going to go. I don't need to do it on every corner, just as long as I get them in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I need to roughen that area up a bit. I'm going to do a very gentle line. Very gentle line. You can do it if you want like that. Basically just got to know where you're going to rough it up. So in the light, I don't know if you can see that, let me see. There we go. And there's some tiny marks. Where's the other one? There. Tiny marks. You do that. Very gently. You don't need to make a big heavy line. And then we're going to rough it up. I have got a rougher upper here somewhere. Where is it? Let me take that back a bit. There it is, found it. There's my rougher upper. It's just like this, funny shape. It's made by a company called Craft Tool Pro. I know you can see that, but Craft Tool Pro, they're really expensive. You can just use the tip of a sharp thing. So I'll do one with that. Just to show you. You're only making it rough so that the glue will adhere to it, can sink in a bit and grip hold of it. And it's only to stick it on it long enough for you to put some stitch lines in it. Right, and then I'll use this one on the other one. Okay. Okay, roughed up. Now we're going to get some glue. Now be very careful when you put your glue on. I use 528 Evo Stick 528. This dries really quickly, but that's okay because, believe it or not, this is one of those glues where you have to let it set. You put it on there, and on the edges. Leave them for a few minutes. Let them go tacky to the touch. Once they're both tacky, that's when you want to do it. Stick them on. But be careful, make sure you've got it lined up, because this stuff is strong. Once you put it on, you'll make a right mess. Excuse me. You'll make a right mess trying to get it off. My advice, if you're new to leathercraft, use a different type of glue. All you're doing is sticking it on for a little bit. It's not like a permanent glue situation thing. So if you're not really used to it, you really should try another glue first. Okay, so we don't need a lot. Okay, right. It doesn't even have to go right to the end or to the edges. Just put enough on to stick it in place. Do the same on this as well. Because you're going to stitch it down. That's why you don't need to put loads on. Right, so we just give it a few minutes and let it set a bit. And then as soon as that's done, we can stick this on in place. Now you have to do it before you start messing with the back on there, because otherwise you have to put your hand inside the bag to do all the stitching and stuff. So even though it may be on the back when you're trying to do stuff on there, it's still way better than having to do it when it's already fitted, when the back is already fitted to that. I made some before where I've put it on after I've stuck the back on here, and you have to get your hand in with the needle, and yeah, it's not the best. Okay, we're getting there. It's getting tacky. You'll know it's getting tacky when you touch it. It kind of comes up like, you'll see, you'll know. Anyway, so I'm ready for that now. So I'm going to put that on there. Put one side on first. Keep the other one up, hold that down, and then make sure you give it that little push. You know how we squeezed it before? Make sure you give it that little push, just a gentle push, and make sure there's no glue showing if you can. It is on the back and you can scrape it off later if you need to, but try not to get it on. Try not to squeeze loads out. If you do get a tiny bit, just try and drag it off. Another good reason why you should do it after you've dyed it, because if you get glue on it, the dye won't stick to it. You just have a gap. Right, I'm going to leave, there's a tiny bit that's squished out there. I'm going to leave that until it's set, and then I can just peel it off. See how by squeezing it you've got a gap now, so you can easily get a belt through there now. Right, next one, what we're going to do is give that a few minutes to dry, then we're going to come back, get some stitching irons, and we're going to put some stitch lines across here. So there's going to be some stitch iron work and some actual stitching. Right, see you in a minute. Okay, so here's my little box with stitch irons in. And you can use whichever ones you want. I'm probably going to use that one because it doesn't have far to go, and I'm putting my own holes in it, so I can put in as many as I want. Make sure I get a piece of leather to sit it on. Now I'm not going to put it right up against it, I'm going to do it just above that. Find my hammer. And then do that in there. And there. So that's one side done. See along there with that, and then we do the other side. I'm not putting it right up against it, I'm doing it slightly away from it. Just gives any belt going through it just that little bit extra bit to come up. Whenever you do this, by the way, take the last prong and put it in the last hole, and that way you'll always keep them lined up. Last one, last hole, bring it, and it just falls perfectly. See that? It just falls perfectly right at the end. So now we just go and get some stitching on it. So I'll reset up the stitching and we will come back.